Welcome to my live video about the emotion code. So glad that you are here, whether you are joining live or you are going to watch this later. Tonight, I'm going to cover all about the emotion code. What is this? How does it work? And how can it affect you? How can it empower your life and help you to be more emotionally, mentally, and physically sound and healthy? This is all about wellness, total wellness for your body. So I'm so glad to have you here tonight or today, whatever time that you are watching. So I'm just going to be coming and going from my computer screen. Welcome. And I'll be just touch and go because that's where some of the notes are. So I just want to touch on a few things before we get started. This video is for anybody who is serious about their health and wellness. Those who truly want to experience more change, more lasting change in their life on a root level. A lot of us have found many solutions or temporary fixes really for different areas of our life. But what we're looking at tonight is what's the root cause and how do we relieve it permanently and in a way that makes your body more healed and whole. So I would like to share, if you haven't met me before, my name's Juliana and I am a certified emotion code practitioner. I have found this to be absolutely transformative in my own life, and I am seeing it change so many other people's lives as well. That's why I wanted to walk through the specifics and share exactly how this works, the mechanics, because I'm one who's like, show me how this works, break it down. So as we go through, you may want to take notes. I guarantee you're going to hear something you've never heard tonight. And if you have any questions, please jot them down or put them in. You can go ahead and write them out, because at the end I'm going to revisit those questions and we'll go through that together, and just that's our time for dialogue a bit more. So as you guys come on, if you could share, where are you coming from? I'd love to see. I'm actually in Hendersonville, Tennessee, not far from Nashville, if you guys have ever been there. But yeah, where are you guys coming from? Just give you a second. Yep. Okay. Well, I'll just say I'm glad that you're here. I'm not seeing the comments. I'm a little new to this. Thank you. Spring Hill, awesome. Thank you for your grace, as this is my first Facebook Live in this format. I plan to do these regularly. I'm so excited to go after multiple topics. There's so many things I want to explore. One would be how can you strengthen your heart in a powerful way? There we go. Nashville, Hermitage, awesome. Locals, I love it. Great to see you guys here. And so yeah, we're just gonna connect here for tonight, and then I love that I can connect with you guys locally as well. So I'm just gonna jump into it, and like I said, I'll just be bouncing back and forth with some slides. But first we have to start with this premise. The truth is, we are all energy. Everything is made up of energy. This desk, I'm totally made up of energy. It's in some forms are solid and some are much more invisible, so that you can't obviously see what that is. Electricity, or even the substance that keeps me animated, you can't see that energy, but you can obviously at the same time see that the energy is happening. So when we distill our beings down to its finest point, when we get rid of anything that isn't energy, we're actually only a teeny fraction made up of matter. You can look into the research behind this, but we're 99.9999% made of energy. So that is like our spirits, our spirit, our life force, our energy force. In other cultures, they would call this prana or chi or ki. These are all forms of energy, and that is what we're talking about. This is what we have, in a sense, avoided in healthcare, and we're going to start exploring it more because, as you know, there are certain areas, hi Heather, there are certain parts of our lives that we're like running into brick walls. We're like, why is this chronic issue not being solved? And that's where we start asking these bigger questions about energy. So emotions are a huge form of that energy. You're watching me be excited because I am excited to meet with you here. These make life colorful. This is what keeps life interesting. And emotions are simply vibrating energy. It's another form of energy, and they're generated by our organs. Every organ actually generates different emotions. And what happens when these emotions happen in your guts and your organs is it's approximately 90 seconds that it's kind of moving in and through your body. And it's what you do with that emotion that has long-term positive or negative effects. So from here forward, I'd like to invite you to breathe when you're experiencing any major emotions, negative emotions. So to be sure to, next time you're feeling panic or you're feeling anxiety, take a breath. Take deep breaths as you're feeling that. That will allow that energy that's just formed in your body to move through your body. And I'm sure you also have plenty of times in your life where you haven't let that energy flow through, where you have clamped down on that energy. One of the ways that we do that is when we start hyperventilating, breathing, or crying. That crushes that energy into our beings, that keeps it active and resonant in our bodies. So that's what we're going to be talking a lot about today. What happens when emotions get trapped? Because this is quite an issue. When we've got all this negative emotional energy resonant in our body, then we have these trapped emotions. And they literally, like I said, they're formed and then they float around and they're looking for a place to stay in your body if they've become trapped in your body. And what they're looking for is the weakest parts of your body. Again, just like we were talking about with energy, it's just looking for an energetic spot to, let's say, call home. And if, let's say, you already have an injury, let's say in high school you injured your knee and that is already weak, and funny enough, through the years, it just keeps getting worse and worse. You're like, why? I go to the chiropractor, I do the right things, and why is this thing not being resolved? Well, it's a good spot. It's a good home for trapped emotions, and that's where, by releasing negative energy, we can help it to heal. Now, so essentially, sorry, there's a train going by. Essentially, this is what we call emotional baggage. Are you familiar with this? When you moved from one relationship to the next, or one career, one job to the next, and you find yourself triggered, you find yourself overreacting to things that you know in your head you don't need to overreact, but you're auto-triggered by someone in the new situation. This is emotional baggage. Essentially, these are trapped emotions working in your body. So our goal with the emotion code is to get rid of this emotional baggage. And it helps us to become our very best selves. When we aren't trooping around with a ton of baggage, then we can truly be our best selves. Not just talk about it, not just coax ourselves into it, not just recite, I'd like to be this person over and over again, but truly be that. Honestly, as I'm watching this, I'm like, this woman couldn't be standing in front of you if it weren't for all of the emotional baggage I've been getting rid of. Because, as you know, this is not the most fun thing to do, is show up publicly and do this what I call social cliff jumping. But it works when we get rid of this emotional baggage. So emotions can be a double-edged sword. They affect us. These trapped emotions affect us not only emotionally, but physically, like I mentioned before, like with that knee, that when all those trapped emotions are kind of resonant and continuing to wreak havoc, then we start to literally get worse and worse and worse physically. So this can cause problems immediately or decades later. So say, for example, a 3-year-old boy is in an accident with his mom, and let's say immediately he starts having reactions to cars, like I'm not getting in the car, that he already had some trapped emotions from that experience. Or it could resurface decades later. It could happen when he's turning 16 and it's time for him to drive the car, and all of a sudden he's having panic attacks and can't seem to learn to drive a car. That could be from those trapped emotions from that first car accident he experienced. So what is a trapped emotions? As I was saying earlier, it is energy. It's actually a ball of energy, and it is vibrating energy. Just like we're vibrating, we have a certain resonance happening in our body. These are the size of an orange to a cantaloupe. Yes, there are ways to measure trapped emotions, and most people have hundreds. So, we all have learned how to get on and move on past things. We've no, I'm going to muscle through this. And there are times, I'm sure you understand as well, where you are triggered, you're frustrated, there's this point where you keep feeling fear, but you do it anyway, right? And you keep forcing yourself through it. Well, that doesn't mean that past emotion is completely gone. It can resurface at a much later level, even though we're muscling through those emotional triggers. So these trapped emotions can cause problems, like I was mentioning, and essentially they create an imbalance in your energy field. And that imbalance, because when we are fully imbalanced, as you know, I'm sure you've been learning about nutrition and health and how do I do the best things I possibly can for my family and for those I love. You find that there are ways to better balance and better bring holistic health to our bodies. Also, our energetic force can be balanced, or it can be crazy feeling, that intense chaos of our energy. You felt it even when people come in the room and so everybody, you kind of back away from someone and you're like, what's going on? Well, there's a lot of chaotic energy going on there. So this imbalance in your energy field leads to symptoms that are both emotional and physical pain. It could be either or both. And this can, over time, morph into disease. So releasing trapped emotions earlier is way better, way healthier for the body. Again, I just want to highlight, next time you're feeling intense emotions, stop and just keep breathing. Keep your breath moving, because the emotions do ride on our breath. That's where we can keep it down. No, I'm not allowed to feel this fear. I'm not allowed to feel this anger or this resentment, and that's where we keep it in the body. So breathe through it. So let's just talk for a minute about the physical problems that we've found releasing trapped emotions can help so much with. I'm going to run through a long list. And as I run through these things, I would encourage you to jot one down if something is highlighted to you. Maybe it's something in your family, or it's something that you personally are dealing with. I just want to highlight that right now, because we found a lot of these root causes to be associated with these problems right here. So aging issues, allergies, asthma, autoimmune diseases or issues, back pain, cancer, chest pain, fatigue, diabetes, digestive issues, fibromyalgia, headaches, chronic headaches, impotency, infertility, joint pain, low immunity, multiple sclerosis, neck pain, nerve pain, organ or gland issues, sinus issues, and weight issues, and vertigo. Out of those, one most recently I was experiencing was vertigo for the first time in my life. And it was amazing as I worked on myself. I had to have somebody remind me to do the emotion code. I was sharing with them about this vertigo, never experienced this. And I was able to release those trapped emotions that were actually part of the root cause. I had some emotional things going on, release those trapped emotions, and it wasn't there anymore. It's just the best feeling. Just like you guys know, whenever you've experienced healing where one moment things are just chaos and the next you're totally healed, it's the best feeling. So let's also go over emotional and mental problems. And this, again, it's something I'm going to say is going to highlight someone that you know and love is dealing with. And I encourage you to write it down or even write down their name as I go through this list. So ways, again, these are issues where we found releasing trapped emotions to be so helpful. ADD, ADHD, anger, addictions, all kinds, any kind of addictions. Maybe it's chocolates, maybe it's cocaine, any extreme of addictions, anxiety, depression, eating disorders, fighting, insomnia, intimacy issues, lack of love, learning disabilities, loneliness, low self-esteem, mental issues, and money issues as well. So we have, again, found, I've experienced this a lot with the people I've worked with, where I've seen huge breakthroughs in their lives in these different arenas. I'm going to give you a few quotes from them today as well. Oh, sorry, I missed a few. There's a few more. Also nightmares, paranoia, phobias, fears of all kinds, PTSD, self-sabotage, stress, and suicidal thoughts. Those are a few more that I wanted to mention. So yeah, I just, as I would say these things, they're not light things. I don't take it lightly at all. I know we've all had different touch and go. Different people that we love have truly struggled to move past these things. And that's why I'm sharing with you, because I'm so very passionate about bringing breakthrough. And I have been searching for so long for long-term solutions for these things. So it's such a joy to be sharing this with you here now. So back to trapped emotions. These can form any time in life. This can even happen in the womb. Let's say your family is going through trauma while you are in the womb. That is another way you can both absorb a trapped emotion or you can experience it for yourself. So any time in life, some are even inherited, and this can happen through generations. In science, we look at epigenetics, and in the epigenes, they are finding that trauma can be passed down. Now, scientifically, we've proven 14 generations, and we have found that and more with the emotion code, that you can have these trapped emotions that just keep going from generation to generation. This is also where we can see these cyclical issues that go from one to the other to the other. And I'll just insert my past experience with this. We would have called this a generational curse. And that's actually something separate than a trapped emotion. I just want to distinguish between that. Those are different energies. These are simply trapped emotions, and we can actually easily release them. I love that. I love that. So here's a quote from one of my recent clients, Jennifer, here actually in Nashville. And we had been working on something totally separate, and then this a few days after she had gone through her session, she wrote me this. Of all the shifts, the most surprising was my grandma on my dad's side, who kept coming up during the session. She's been depressed and hasn't voluntarily left her house in years now. She had a birthday Saturday and I got to FaceTime with her. She was saying she was going to be joining a cards domino club in her neighborhood this week because she wants to be around people again. Wild, considering her behaviors the last 10 years. This is a huge shift. So that's just one example of how it affects the generations, and that is why I love releasing generational trapped emotions. It happens up and down the generations when we release it off of a person. So it is a way of bringing healing to your whole family when you're releasing these trapped emotions. So we've got to turn this around. I am not standing here with just a big problem. I am so grateful to be standing here with a solution for you. Now, the challenge with this is that the more trapped emotions you have, the more that you'll create. These trapped emotions, again, this energy they're like magnets. So let's say you've already got depression kind of resonant, vibrating, let's say, in your body. It acts for a magnet to bring more depressing things into your life. Same with anger or overwhelm or fear. Any one of these trapped emotions, when we've got a lot, it can accumulate more over time. And these trapped emotions are also the reason why we've got cyclical issues, where you're like, let me off of this cycle. The problem is that we have these trapped emotions keeping us in that place. So we can turn these things around by releasing them. So first, we're going to find them. How do we even find these things? That's a good question, right? So we can find them and we can remove them together by using the emotion code. First, we've got to expose these trapped emotions, and of course, you've got to ask the right questions. That's part of this process that has been discovered. And we've got to look in the right place. It's not like, some in most medical work that we know of so far, it's just super easy to see when something is broken on a body. Some things, when you break an arm, when you break a bone, we can see that directly. So in this instance, we've got to look a little bit deeper because we're dealing with energy, and this is a bit of a new frontier in the medical field. So we could look or stay at the conscious mind. And this is where I've got this nice little picture of a iceberg, and you can see the conscious mind is that little bitty bit above the surface. So the conscious mind is very limited. It is 1% of our intelligence. So there's a lot we're not using. It receives input, it analyzes, and it decides. It's that part that's like right, wrong, yes, no, we're going this way or not. The subconscious mind is 99% of your intelligences. That is everything below the surface. So it remembers and archives everything. It's like a supercomputer, your subconscious. So it knows what's wrong in your body, and it also knows what you need, how to fix that problem. So this is where we've got to find the answers, or where we've discovered the answers for finding these trapped emotions, is that below the surface in our subconscious. So our subconscious also acts like a lie detector. It's almost like a small child in that it cannot say yes or no. It only says yes or no, and it knows the difference between truths and lies, and muscle testing can help access this information. I'll also mention that our subconscious doesn't understand sarcasm. So you see that when little kids, when at first you're like being sarcastic and it doesn't compute in their brains, that's because sarcasm is a backward way of truth. It's actually a lie, and it takes more for our brains and our emotional body to process sarcasm, because it's like you have to decipher or decode it to understand what someone's actually saying. So we have found that muscle testing can help us to access this information, this supercomputer that has all the records. It knows what went wrong at age 3. It knows what went wrong at age 38 or any point along your life. So this is the time, I meant to mention this earlier, I'm going to do a test, and I can actually do the emotion code from anywhere. I call this the same superhighway that prayer runs on. That's also how we can access the subconscious. So I would love a volunteer, and we'll go ahead and release, well, we're going to release the trapped emotion here in a few minutes. I actually want to start with explaining a baseline for muscle testing. And this is where I invite you to participate with me. This may be a little stretch or something really new for you, but I'm excited to do this with you. So what we're going to do is a sway test. And this is simply a way of finding out to possibly get some answers from your subconscious right now. So I'm bringing it all the way through the screen to you. So how we're going to do this is to stand up. We're going to stand on both feet with equal weight and relax. And as you relax and as you just want to be like neutral. And when you're standing neutral, you can also find that your body does kind of have a little bit of a sway back or forth. And again, it's like that energy, that vibration going on in your body. So what's going to happen is I'm going to describe something to you, and then let's just see which direction your body sways. And does that sound good? Can I get a like heart or some kind of like, hey, I'm going to do this with you. I'm going to try the sway test with you as well. Any little hi. I think there's a little delay. So again, we're standing up, equal weight on both feet. I'm going to describe something, and as you're just relaxing, and you can even exhale as I talk about this thing. I like to close my eyes. Oh, there they are. Hey, see, there's a little bit of a delay, but thanks, thank you. So yeah, we're just relaxed, and I like to close my eyes just to chill out as I do this, to not overthink it, okay? Don't think about it, just relax. Just however you hear me talking about something, see which direction your body goes. So, as you're relaxing, you're thinking about unconditional love. Just think about unconditional love, being around someone or people that love you no matter what, that they love every aspect of who you are, they care for you. Just that sense of unconditional love. Maybe even that love you experience with God. However you connect to that total free-flowing feeling of love, where you just, as if you could get into a bath of love. So, how did your body sway? Did your body sway a little bit? Did you find that you swayed one direction or the other? If so, can you write in the comments what direction your body swayed? And you may have to like exhale and try it again, thinking about the same thing. But see, I'd like to see how your body responded to that. Sorry, there's a little delay. But thank you guys for participating. I love bringing things practical to you at home so that you can see how this works. Yeah, it's funny. With the live, I think I need like a better reaction time. But okay, yeah, Andrew, you went backwards. All right. And anybody else? Yes. Front to back. First front, backwards. Interesting. Sometimes, I think it depends on the person, but sometimes, most of the time we find that people go a little bit forward when they are experiencing or thinking that. Some do go backwards. I've had people do the opposite of what's normal, and they're like, that's how I naturally do it. And just to break this down a little more, this is like, let's say you're sitting in a restaurant and you see a couple come in, like this loving, sweet couple that's just, you can see they're so in love, and you lean in, like we naturally like take another glance their way because it's so encouraging. It like it lifts us up, you know. But in the same restaurant, if you see a negative couple come in and they're yelling, they're at each other's throats, one of them storms out, the other one's still like, I don't know, still making noise, we all back away, you know. We're like, okay, that negative energy, how can I get away from this? That is usually our natural reaction. So we did love. We're going to try one more, all right? And then we're going to do one other test. And this is just so much fun to do this with you guys. The first time I've ever done this through a screen. I usually do this in person with people. But, so now we're going to do one more. Again, you're going to just stand equal weight on both feet. And this time you're going to think about the Holocaust. You're going to think about Hitler and war and destruction, all the things that come with war, all the pain that comes with war, all the death that comes with war. And how is that for you? Which way did you find your body sway on that one? I mean, it doesn't go side to side, it just goes forward or backwards, ideally. But yeah, see which way your body swayed. And sometimes people react to this immediately. Some people, like, they get the sway test or it works well for them immediately. Other times there's some things that even need to be released before this is totally in tune with our body so that you can sense it for yourself. Yeah, and Andrew said backwards. Yeah. And anybody else? I understand, Christy, you're driving home. There's also Heather is driving as well. It's great to have you guys. You'll have to try this later. You'll have to experience it for yourself. Backwards, Nicole. Yeah. And it can sometimes be surprising, like when your body, you know, maybe you felt it immediately when I said Hitler, or our bodies like resonate with, oh, I don't like that. So we're going to do two more kind of quickly because I'll just keep these things moving. So now on the count of 3, you're going to say, my name is, and say your name. So I'll say my name. You guys say, my name is, and again, exhale and just relax your body and see which way it sways. So, 1, 2, 3. My name is Juliana. See which way your body swayed. Again, you may find your body sways. Our bodies, our subconscious resonate with yes, no answers. It knows the truth, and it can decipher lies or things that are untrue. So we're going to do one more. And I don't think we have a Bob in this group, so we're going to say, my name is Bob. So 1, 2, 3. My name is Bob. And it's just interesting. You may not sway right away, but it may hesitate a little bit. But as we practice this, you can learn how to get answers from your subconscious. This is the most basic version of muscle testing, and it's where I started with this whole process. For me, it seemed to happen immediately. I started getting clear answers. And then I will tell you, the moment I started to doubt, the moment I thought, oh my gosh, this is crazy. What are these people talking about? As soon as I start thinking, unbelieving, or doubting things, yeah, no, nothing works. Funny that. That is part of how our electrical system works. When we are in tune with peace and with clarity, then we can get clear answers. when we are feeling chaos or dissonance, confusion, then we can't get clear answers from our subconscious. So yeah, if you guys want to comment what happened for you on the name test, I'd like to hear. But it's interesting. So this is the beginning. Yeah, it's all right, Nicole. You said it's always backwards. Sometimes, like I said, there's a few things that can be adjusted. And of course, if any of you guys want to like practice this with me, I'd be happy to process this with you later. It's interesting. It's new, you know. So we'll just keep moving. So releasing trapped emotions. So we can expose a trapped emotion, like I just shared, because we can get these yes/no answers from our body, and we can release a trapped emotion with energy, intention, also physics, magnetic energy, using the electromagnetic fields of the body, and science, the acupuncture system as well. So the main meridian of our electromagnetic field of our body runs from like the top of our forehead over the top of your head and all the way down your spine. That's why we love it when people stroke our head and when they stroke our back. That feeling is like they're bringing a balance almost to our energy field. Again, this is just a system we haven't really talked about or explored, and we are having that conversation now. So it's awesome that we can use these electromagnetic fields of the body to release trapped emotions. So we've got to, as we talked about, get specific. How do we find these trapped emotions? And also we can discover the approximate time that it was released. So we muscle test to check that it was released. And there are many different ways to muscle test. But how we find the trapped emotion, super simple. This is the emotion code chart. It was developed by Dr. Bradley Nelson. He's the whole reason that anybody understands how to release trapped emotions. And I just want to, I wish I'd said this at the beginning, but when he was discovering this whole process, it came out of a chiropractic practice he had, where every single day before every client, he would ask God for help. He would ask for divine help to give him wisdom into the person's body so that he could be more effective in his work and help them to truly heal. Over time, he developed this system, and it's developed into a very practical tool that we can have access to and use. So this chart has 66 trapped emotions, and as I get yes/no answers from the body, I can find out, is it in row 1, or is it in an even or odd row? Is it in column A or B? And then I can, by process of elimination, find out what the trapped emotion is and release it from the body. It's awesome. So I'd like to do another demo and release a trapped emotion. And I'd like to do it when something with, maybe somebody has a fear or a little bit of a phobia, or even like an area where you are triggered. You find yourself overreacting on something. What is that? Whoever says that's awesome. Christy says her chiropractor does this. Healed my asthma. That's so awesome. Yeah, it's just phenomenal now that we know and we experience how we can get answers from the body and help the body to heal. So if you guys have a phobia or an area where you feel triggered, if you want to comment that, then the first person who comments, I'm going to use you as someone to experience just having a trapped emotion released. So yeah, I'll just wait a second. And yes, like I said before, we can do this long distance. You can look into, what is it? I'm forgetting the scientific name for it right now, but we are able to make this connection. This is the same way that, let's say, a mom and a son on different sides of the planet. Let's say the son goes through something traumatic, like a major accident, and the mom violently feels it in her body or emotionally feels it, that at the same exact instant, it's that same energetic superhighway that we actually all have access to, that we are able to connect from anywhere on the planet. So yeah, Nicole's work stress, and you said unworthiness, a feeling of unworthiness. So I'm going to find out from your body. I'm just going to first, every practitioner asks for help, so divine help. So I'm going to start with that, and I'm going to assume that since you put that in the comments, that you're giving permission. That's the other key before anybody works on anyone with the emotion code, is make sure you have their permission, and then we can release a trapped emotion. So first I'm going to ask for help. So I do ask that help from God. I thank you so much that we can make this connection, from anywhere. And I do ask for insight into Nicole's body and ask for clarity of what trapped emotion to release. So in Jesus' name, amen. Because if you guys don't know, my background is as a Christian, and that is core of who I am. So we are going to release a trapped emotion for Nicole. So I'm just going to check, can I connect to you, Nicole? Yes. And so what you're going to watch here is me doing muscle testing, right? And you're like, what is she doing with her hands? This is just a form of muscle testing. When it's tight, it's a yes, and when it's loose, for me, it's a no. We can actually program our body to better understand how to do the muscle testing. Other ways you may have seen muscle testing is like this on the arm. That's a very common way. If you guys were with me right now, I'd use this, and we would muscle test that way. There's so many ways you can use your arm right here. I learned a new one with your pinky this week. It's all in the Emotion Code book. If you want to learn all the different ways you can learn to test your body, I'm doing this right here. So I'm just going to get some answers from you, Nicole. I'll just check again. Am I able to connect to you? Yes, and I'll just find out. So with that work stress, I'm going to just focus on the work stress, because like you had named an emotion, and I'm going to see if there's another trapped emotion that's contributing to that work stress. And we'll see. Maybe it'll come up as unworthiness, but I'm just going to see. I'm going to let your body be the guide. That's what's so fun about this, is we really can honor our systems that know better than us what needs to be released. So with this work stress for you, Nicole, is it in column A or column B? Is it even? Is it 2, 4? It's in 4. Is it depression, frustration, indecisiveness, panic? And we're taken for granted. It's coming up as panic. So this is simply a trapped emotion in your body that's contributing to that ongoing feeling of work stress going on for you. And while we're doing this interesting thing, while we're getting answers from the body in this way, I also can find out approximately what age it was trapped. And I'm going to see, I'm not sure how old you are, Nicole, but I'm going to see if maybe it was before age 25, and I get a yes. So was it before age 20, before 15? Yeah. Was it before 10? No. At 10, 11, 12, 13. Around age 12 or 13, a severe feeling of panic. And if we were on the phone or connecting, I'd ask you, so does anything come up for you connected to that age and that emotion? Panic, age 12, 13. Okay, cool, Nicole. But yeah, and you don't have to share it, but there may be a memory that popped to mind. Something may have just come to mind. It may not have. If you feel like you're open to sharing it, well, you're welcome to. But either way, we're going to release the trapped emotion. I love that this honors people's privacy, because sometimes we're dealing with traumas And even our mind has blocked it out. We've blacked it out, and sometimes we can't remember. I'm in panic at age 13. I don't know. I don't remember anything. No worries. Either way, let's just get rid of the trapped emotion, right? So if you do want to share, you're welcome to. You don't have to at all. And I'll just see, is there anything else we need to know about this trapped emotion? No, I get a no. So can we just release it? And I get a yes. So how I'm going to release it is with a magnet. Like I said, the electromagnetic fields of the body, they respond well to magnets. If you've researched at all healing magnets, it's amazing what magnets can do to bring healing to our body. In this case, and this is just my bracelet that is magnetic, got it off of Amazon. I could also use this, a fridge magnet, and just use that over the electromagnetic field of the body. So yeah, relocated from Pennsylvania to Tennessee between freshman and sophomore year in high school. Yeah, and I'll just check to see, is that the source of the panic? Yes, that's the, let's say, root cause. Now, usually when I'm working with people, I'm just releasing them, and we don't always find out the age. I am so happy to do that for you when I'm working with people, but for conversation's sake, that's why I'm doing that right now. So, yeah. And that's the thing, is like the subconscious in giving ages can be off by 2 to 3 years. So it's, our subconscious more remembers the circumstances or the situation more than numbers. As you can imagine, it's not so much about numerical order. It's more about events and that kind of thing. So either way, we're going to just release this. So I get a yes, so I'm just going to release this right now. And it was panic. So I just released panic from you, Nicole. And every way from your body, just release that panic. Okay, and then I check in, did we release it? And I get a yes, so that's great. So, and Nicole, you may have sensed something, or you may not have sensed anything at all while I was releasing it. It's just energy moving along. I find sometimes I'm yawning while I'm releasing trapped emotions. Again, it's just like an energetic reset when you find yourself yawning. Again, that's why we need all this air in our lungs. We need to keep breathing. We've got to keep that oxygen going. So the next step is to heal. And so I'm just moving on. Well, I will release another trapped emotion here in a minute. So if you want to volunteer, you can be ready. And again, thank you, Nicole, for being open to and sharing with us as well. Thank you. So when we release these trapped emotions, it helps to release it. And I just saw that you said a bit of heaviness in the chest. And yeah, and what we could do is keep releasing more, because no doubt there's a few things contributing to the stress, and it's like we're starting to be like, oh, okay, there could be more relief. So you may be sensing more going on, and even a desire to keep going with this work. Yeah, my pleasure. You're welcome. So healing, this begins automatic when we release trapped emotions. It helps our body to start healing straight away, and the processing can actually continue. Let's say that healing can continue from 1 to 3 days. About 20% of people experience processing, and that could be like one last flare of that emotion. It's like an echo in your body, or it could be just feeling like you're a little tired, or maybe a little emotional as you're processing the next 1 to 3 days. But that's just it, healing your body, readjusting to, wow, thank you. You know, like your body says, oh my gosh, it's so much better without it. Another way I like to think about this is, imagine if you had all these thorns in your skin and someone comes along and pulls out that thorn. your body's going to be able to heal itself so much better without a thorn sticking in there. And this is just how the energy works. This is what we can do with trapped emotions. Is as we release it, then it helps your body to heal mentally, emotionally, physically. So here's another quote. This one's from Connie. She said, "My son was diagnosed as being clinically depressed at only 9 years old. Nothing was helping him. This treatment has totally saved him. Thank you." And that's another thing I wanted to mention, is that we can release trapped emotions from children, and also those that are maybe in the hospital and suffering in a way that they can't consciously be present for the work. That's okay. And even when I'm working with children, I think it's best that the kids don't even know, because if they're getting this emotion code work, they start to think, oh, what's wrong with me that my mom, sees this as best. But when the parents give permission to help their children along, then I can do that. I can easily release these trapped emotions and help bring more balance to them emotionally or physically in these different ways. So the heart is very fragile, and it is central to our being. It's the very core of us. It is like a second brain. They found with heart transplant patients that others will, when they have a new heart from someone else, then they can have these new tastes and these new desires, these echoes, and even like essentially stored memories can happen in the heart, even in that transfer. So we're learning more and more about the heart, and it does have an energy field. It can be sensed, I believe 8 to 12 feet away from the body. We can measure now the range, the energetic range of our heart. So when we experience heartbreak, it's very dangerous for us energetically. It's hard on, obviously, our hearts. So we can, over time, construct a heart wall. And heart walls are simply made of trapped emotions. That is that as we accumulate these trapped emotions in our body and they're looking for a place to land, it often gravitates towards our heart, and it starts to build insulation. So you see this in children when they're like young and vibrant and going after life, and they're super vulnerable and open-hearted. And then all of a sudden they start to pull back, they start to withdraw a little bit, be a little guarded. Well, that's because their heart wall is starting to form. And this works as an insulator to help us not feel the negative emotions. When we have a heart wall, when it accumulates sometimes very thick walls, then we can be numb to emotions. That's where you get people that are like, oh, I never feel emotions. I am numb to emotions. Well, that's because there's a lot of insulation, you could say, with that heart wall around the heart. It works as a bomb shelter to attempt to protect you from anything, negative coming at you. And this is good temporary protection. But as we grow older, we can find that actually we can live open-hearted and find that balance. So this isn't a permanent solution for our lives. So when we release a heart wall, it can be transformative. So when my heart wall was brought down, I just thought I'd share some of my experience with you guys. Honestly, at first, I'm like, I don't know what these people are talking about, but okay, whatever, just let's experience it. Get rid of my heart wall, right? And when my heart wall was gone, I get the like answer that yes, it's you no longer have a heart wall. I'm like, okay, whatever. Personally, I didn't feel anything. I didn't have, the clouds didn't part and the angels started singing. None of that. Like, I didn't sense anything. But also, I was a bit of a skeptic. I'll just be honest. I tend to lean more towards logic and reason before I'll let things in past my walls, let's say. However, over the next weeks that followed, I discovered a few things shifted. The first was self-deception lifted. Personally, I was in a business where I was trying to convince myself this is a good thing. Just push harder, just do more, just do all these things. And all of a sudden I like had an allergic reaction to, I can't make myself do that. I see the people doing the thing on the other side of the glass, but I'm like, that's not me. It's just not me at all anymore. And I need to find something else to do. And so that was a wonderful thing where areas in my life where I've been trying to convince myself, it just lifted. That self-deception lifted. I started having bursts of joy, like fun. I just felt so joyful. Even there was a few times in public where I would be feeling just so like high on life, like feeling this burst of energy and joy. And I'd be laughing that I'm feeling so good. And then I'd realize other people can see me laughing at myself. And that would make me laugh more. And the fact that I didn't even care what people thought made me laugh even more. So I was having a good old time. But yeah, joy increased, energy increased. And there was a greater expression of love able to come out of my heart for those that I care about. And I was able to do it and have continued to be able to do this without fear of judgment. Sometimes I don't know how they're going to respond. But when we are open-hearted, when we don't have a heart wall, we can express our love more fully to one another. I also had a breakthrough in financial anxiety. And that's part of the reason why I even started this, is because I kept finding I tried everything else. And I'm like, okay, if there's something to the subconscious, let's find out what that is around finances. So that's where I also started to experience breakthrough. And the first way was that I had like a crippling feeling of anxiety around finances. And that, if you guys have ever like tried to, sort that ball of string that is your finances, you can feel like waves of anxiety. So that was the first thing to lift as well when I released my heart wall. So for me, it was more gradual than immediate. It was like a month down the road, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, I started looking at how things unfolded, and I thought, this is amazing. I just want to thank you guys for bearing with me. I'm wondering, I'm guessing I've been going here for a while. Oh wow, it's been an hour. Thank you. I'll try and speed up a little more. I know you've got things going on, but I'm very grateful for you being here. So the results of a heart wall. Here's a few things that a heart wall causes. And again, it's like that insulation from our being able to give and receive love messages. So not only in the giving, but then when someone's trying to love you and love you well, then, and you know how you feel like numb, then you can, that's that heart wall, like blocking it out, like blocking out that affection that they're trying to pour into your heart. So this can hurt relationships and hurt communication. Imagine, let's say you're having a loving thought or feeling towards someone and you want to express it. And so you've got this love message coming through your heart, but now it's got to get through this minefield of trapped emotions to get to the other person. And then once it reaches them, it's got another minefield to get through to get to their heart. And you want it to be experienced the same way that you were originally intended. But we've all felt that disconnection before, where you're trying to love someone well and they're not receiving it. So it can hurt relationships, it can cause isolation and separation in general when we've got a heart wall. And it blocks creativity, it can block success, it can block new ideas from flowing, and also new financial opportunities as well. So here's a quote from someone that I worked with, Aisha. She said, specifically over the next 3 days following the removal of my heart wall, I found breakthrough not only in my heart and spirit, but also in regards to my business. For months, I had been stuck in one crucial stage of building my business. But once my heart wall was removed, I received clarity in how to move forward. Within days, I made specific connections and received opportunities to literally take my business to the next level. So that was awesome. And something else that was interesting with Aisha as well is that when we were doing her heart wall removal, and I'd check in like at the age and certain emotions, and she'd be like, I don't remember. She's just like, I don't know, sure, whatever, like just release it. And once her heart wall was released, she started to get the more and more memories coming back from her youth. So it's just interesting. I don't know exactly how things will manifest for you when we remove your heart wall, but I guarantee it's going to be good. So and yes, thank you for that question, Nicole. Do most have a heart wall? Yes, we found that 94% of people have a heart wall. And you can imagine that it's really just kind of life happening. There's no fault of your own that, oh, okay, I got this heart wall. It's just such a normal thing. But the fact that we can live without one, that we can live with more energy and be able to live with greater sense of love and connection is awesome. It's funny. It looks like it's getting lighter and darker, but and then the next question can be, do you have a heart wall? So we can also ask that and get answers from the body. So who would like to have me release a trapped emotion from your heart wall? That's the next thing I'd like to demonstrate. So I'm just going to wait for one of you guys to say, hey, I'd like to release a trapped emotion. And maybe you've already been through, experienced some of the emotion code. Maybe you have had your heart wall removed. If so, that's awesome. I could check to make sure that's true. But otherwise, probably, most likely, you do have a heart wall. And I'd be more than happy to release a trapped emotion in that. So, yeah. And thanks for sharing, Nicole. Yeah, she said that she can feel it, and it feels like a Velcro blur around your heart. Yeah. I mean, here's the thing, and I found this to be true as well, is when somebody started talking about this, when I started reading about this, I'm like, something in my spirit was just like, yes, this is so true. I've never heard about this, but I know it to be true in my gut, and sure enough, yes, it is true. So I'll go ahead with Ashley because you volunteered, and yeah, I'll just check. Do you, Ash? And I'll first connect Ashley. Just focus on you, Ashley, and I'll find out, do you have a heart wall? And do you have a heart wall? And again, yes. So again, I'm going to look at this emotion code chart to find out what that first trapped emotion is that your body wants to get rid of in order to bring more freedom to your heart. So is this trapped emotion in column A? Is it in column B? Is it in an even row? Is it 2 or 4 or 6? It's in 4. And is it depression, frustration, indecisiveness, panic, or it's taken for granted is the trapped emotion. So that's just a feeling of being taken for granted, and sometimes even that feeling of being ignored. And again, I can check the age if that's all right with you. I having met you, I have a feeling you're open to it. So I'll just check the age and find out if this trapped emotion of taken for granted, did it start before age 20? Before 20? Yep. Before 10? No. Is this one before 15? No, 15, 16. Around 17? Around 17, a feeling of being taken for granted or ignored, that kind of thing. And feel free to share, but you don't have to either. So that's the beauty of it. We're going to release the trapped emotion either way. So, yeah. Taken for granted, around, give or take a few years, around age 17. Maybe something pops right to mind. Maybe it doesn't at all. Yeah. So, sorry there's a little delay as I wait for the messages. Yep. And for anybody who's just tuning in, what you're watching me do is a form of muscle testing. And it's not any woo-woo. There's actual real mechanics to this. I can't wait for all the science to fully show and prove this. There is a lot of science for all that I'm sharing with you, but some things look unfamiliar. I'll just tell you that. It certainly did for me at first when I saw this process. Yeah. So I think I'll just go ahead and release that trapped emotion for you, Ashley. And I'm just releasing it from your heart wall. So I'm going to just release that taken for granted. Again, I'm just using a magnet over the electromagnetic field in my body as I am just focused on you, Ashley. So yeah, we just release that taken for granted right now from Ashley, from her body. We just move it right along. Any way it's hindered her heart, we just release that trapped emotion. All right. I always check, did we release it? Because occasionally I need to swipe a couple times. And yeah, we just release it. And then I see your message. Yes, this is correct. So yeah, that's great. We just released that first trapped emotion of taken for granted. So of course, I'd keep going. And we would keep going with your heart wall, and we can completely remove it. And even check for a hidden heart wall as well. Sometimes we can look a little even more below the surface to get these answers and move these emotions right along. So you can be free too. You can experience more freedom, and it really is easy. You can start experiencing your best life now. And this is just another amazing tool to help enhance you. Because I know you wouldn't be here right now if you weren't already on this path, if you weren't already asking those deeper questions of how do we help people heal? How do we help people authentically experience more life? So that's what we have found with the emotion code, that we can really bring more life. And I just want to share one more testimony with you. Kaya says, I have a 48-year-old client who's very sweet. This is another emotion code practitioner, but I just want to use this one as well. We removed her heart wall. It was linked to her abusive former marriage. 10 days later, she met a man who fulfilled all of the 47 characteristics she wanted in a man. This was just like a romantic movie love story. If it were my own client, I wouldn't believe it. So yes, we are finding more connections in relationships, more health in marriages, and in those relationships that we most hold dear, we can find better connection and new opportunities opening up and coming our way when we don't have a heart wall. And when we've continued to remove trapped emotions, and we can do this on specific issues, a specific memory or pain or trauma that happened in your life, we can just go through and just release all trapped emotions associated with that to help you in that area. Or we can be like just focused on relationships, or just focused on first releasing the heart wall. And I really do love starting with people's heart wall, because the heart wall, there's 5 things that we found it really affects. And that is giving love, like I talked about earlier, receiving love as well, those messages, and with that comes clarity, also clarity of mission and purpose, and also your immune system increases without a heart wall, and also financial or abundance issues start to open up in new ways. Those are generally how we see things released. Often we can do more work on any one of those areas, but that's like it. Getting rid of a heart wall hits so many things at once. That's why I love to start with that. But if people are in chronic pain, that's another place where I love to start, because we want to get that pain level down as quickly as possible, so you're not in pain. So let's remove trapped emotions so that you can find greater health and happiness. And I'm so grateful that you guys have hung in there. You've listened to this with me. What I wanted to share, I would like to offer this to you. I do a free session for 20 minutes And I'm going to post my link below so you can sign up, experience it for yourself. You don't have to buy a session. If you can do it just for educational purposes so that you have one more resource to help enhance your life and bring more fullness. So I'd love to share this with you personally. We'll identify and we'll release that trapped emotional baggage, and we'll help move along those negative energies. And we can also make a plan for how other things that you'd like to see shift in your life. So, I would love to hear some questions. If you guys have any questions, I'm going to do a little Q&A before I close out this live. I also want to mention that I want to do more of these. Like I said at the beginning, we are going to do more. We're going to do it on specific topics. I'd like to do like stress and anxiety, PTSD, addictions is another arena I love helping people break through. And even just a whole event on muscle testing and learning about it and how you can learn to do muscle testing. If you've got more questions and you're like, wow, this is really interesting, I want to learn more, I suggest you read the Emotion Code book. It was recently re-released. The foreword is from Tony Robbins. And I'm expecting to see more in collaboration with Tony Robbins and Dr. Brad, who invented the Emotion Code. There's going to be more things coming, but we stay tuned. We will see. It's so exciting. Yeah, awesome, Nicole. That's great. That's great. So, yeah. Oh, thank you, Christy. I'm just seeing if anybody have any questions as we wrap up. And even if you're watching this later, again, thank you for being here through to the end. And please go ahead and post a question. I will come back and respond at a later date. No problem. So, yeah, and it's true. We know that having our body, soul, mind in sync, we can heal more. We can be able to be there for our families, for those that we love, to connect. We can go deeper in connection and health and life, have more energy. So I'll just wait one more minute, see if there's any questions, and then we can shift. I do have a few open times on Monday, and then you'll see that my schedule opens up a lot after the 5th if you're interested in experiencing a session for yourself. I'd love to meet with you one-on-one. And by the way, I do the sessions via phone or video call, just like this. I like connecting with you. You'll see me do the same things you just witnessed. And it's that simple. It's not a whole lot of woo-woo. It's not, I gotta be super spiritually supercharged to do this. The only thing as a practitioner that are essential for me to release trapped emotions are to be in a place of love and gratitude. It doesn't work if your energy is kind of off and not in that place. You've got to be in a space of love and gratitude and be hydrated. I have to stay hydrated when I'm doing this work. It literally helps with the electromagnetic fields of the body. So, thank you so much for being here. I'm assuming there aren't any questions. Thank you, thank you. I just send out all amazing blessings for more life and peace and wholeness to you and your family today. And I look forward to connecting with you more right here. So have a wonderful rest of your evening. Bye for now.